Hey folks, hope you are well. So, unfortunately, I had a lot of reasons to think about the ways how companies are shooting themselves in the foot recently. Most notably, again, a personal anecdote. Recently, an Airbnb host just kind of stood me up, and after arriving pretty late from the airport after a delayed flight, I wasn't able to get in. And, it's being covered by air cover. So we thought, like, okay, they're going to find us a replacement or something. But no, they didn't. And after talking to seven-ish agents and hearing three times that someone's shift is ending, so they will just pass us on to the next person who was absolutely clueless as to where we were with this case. They didn't like actually do anything for us. And eventually, around 5:30 a.m., we found a hotel that had a vacancy because high peak of holiday season. And yeah, I wasn't mortified. I found this whole situation pretty amusing because I didn't expect the customer experience to be so bad. But it was very clear that the support agents were focusing on trying to conserve resources, so save money, by no means offering reimbursement or trying to go the extra mile. And they were trying to like wrap things up quickly. So there was this push for closing the ticket and like, hey, we'll contact the host and get back to you within a day. Are you satisfied with the service? Well, obviously not, because I'm standing in the street at 4 a.m. and I can't find a place to stay. Um, so yeah, I wanted to kind of use this story as a foray into my today's rant and show you a few instances like that when you think you're doing something good for your company, but actually it may backfire in the long term. Because creating this goodwill with your users, especially in the times of, well, social media and everyone kind of sharing their experience publicly, is super, super important and goes a much, much longer way than pushing for this upgrade or saving a few $100s on these edge cases that maybe happen 1% of the time, right? Or maybe not hiring an expert and claiming you don't have time to do something that is very important and that will result in more support tickets again, which is these product adoption experiences, when you could be doing as part of your sprint. So let's kind of dissect these three things in a bit more detail. I hinted upon the second issue that I think is happening very often, and it did happen to me just a month-ish ago when a tool I was using suddenly cut us off and all my campaigns stopped, and I really wanted and needed to use it, but it was bank holiday in the US. I'm not in the US. I don't work in the US. I have nothing to do with the US. I've never been there. And yet I wasn't able to access the tool because our company credit card failed because of some security, whatever issue that the bank came up with. And the tool just on autopilot, as soon as, well, we kind of had this delinquent churn, cut us off. And obviously it was really, really bad experience. We weren't able to recover access until, later in the week. Did it improve my opinion of this team and the tool? Obviously not. Did they win anything because we were not able to pay it with a company card anyway? Also not. So what is the point of doing this, right? Especially with higher ticket customers. So the more your customer is paying, the less you should be doing of these automated cutoffs. If they churn for some reason or if they are late with the card payment. So that's one. Another thing is that I hear very often that you guys don't have time to implement these product adoption experiences and think about it after you've launched a new feature. I've been thinking about it as well and actually talking to one of our subscribers yesterday. Hey, Gus, we'll publish snippets from this interview next week. But in the meantime, I kind of realized we haven't been doing it the right way either. So building these in-app product adoption experiences for each feature together with the release. So if you make it an integral part of your release, you don't need to hire a separate like growth product manager or product marketing manager that will be just doing this and catching up with this massive product adoption debt. In fact, I think it's healthier to do it while you're launching the feature, because then you're kind of in the zone of thinking along the lines of how this feature fits into the user journey, right? For different segments, possibly, it might be different stages of the user journey. And when are your users most likely to trip themselves up while using this feature, or because they haven't been able to find it or use it properly? So then you can create these reactive experiences that are only going to become visible when the user does a certain thing inside your product or when the user doesn't do it. Of course, you can kind of cover both cases with user pilot, either event-based triggering or audience triggering based on a segment that does not include a certain custom event. And Pendo can't do that if you're considering this competitor for building your in-app experiences, or if you're using it already, chat to me about how you can improve things. End of the shameless plug. So last but not least, what this Airbnb debate was all about was, in fact, over-focus on numbers, right? Closing tickets, or any other kind of very, very quantitative way of measuring qualitative outcomes. I think user satisfaction, like the results of CSAT surveys, for instance, should be a better measure of your customer success or customer support team's performance, rather than the sheer number of issues they have solved, because then they're not really focusing on solving the problem, but rather on closing the tickets. And like a few viral posts later, this is something that you don't see, but the alternative cost in lost business as a result of this bad PR may not be that measurable, but will definitely be substantial. So I'm leaving you with this thought. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next week. Have a good one. Bye.